And we're live.
Schloss Karomark turned out to be the most intriguing place. The dramatic architecture of this place that is that consists of several buildings that are connected by precarious-looking stone bridges and wooden passageways, rope bridges, had what looked like uninvited guests, because when you walked up to the front gate to politely knock and ask to speak the master of the house, all you found was a bunch of trolls and their goblin slaves. Fortunately, however, you managed to dispatch the group, including their leader, a ferocious, strong troll. And you find yourself inside the gatehouse. There are the gates themselves are damaged from the battle. Big hole is gaping into one of the doors. And beyond, there's a broad chamber with a vaulted roof that you find yourself in. 2 large fires still burn in the room, and spiral stairways climb up in each corner toward the ceiling. The gate on the far side of the room is barricaded with timber and furniture.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where we left off last time.
Indeed.
Well, this was not the reception we were expecting.
That is very much true. But since we've got it, we probably should proceed with caution. Although I certainly hope our new constructed friend is alright in there. But, well, he certainly can stand up for himself. At least I hope in combat against these beasts.
Well, I mean, if he's still alive and capable, you would have expected him to show up and maybe lend a hand or two if he still has them.
Well,
it doesn't seem like the kind of creature that would have just been pushed over and would be cowering in its room waiting for a damsel to rescue him.
Well, in all fairness, it sort of did cower in the room when it was on trial. So maybe...
not like I had made much choice there,
well,
but here it could have fought back.
Emaírel is going to step up to the other side of the fortification and start putting things up.
Mm-hmm.
And he's going to point out that it wouldn't have been easy to break through all of this.
Yeah, Arronax will lend him a hand in deconstructing the fortification. Although, it still worries me that this fortification is on this side of the gatehouse.
Mm-hmm. As you move over there, you see that the barricade is composed of a number of cots, tables, and other furniture. Give me a perception check. The ones who are going through the barrier or picking through the bits and pieces that make up the barricade.
Evelyn is also percepting, but she's looking at the corpses of the trolls and the goblins, looking for some indication of who they were or what they were doing here.
Mm-hmm. So, Dr. Emaírel, you find, while examining the barricade, a stained and ragged gray tunic with a blue trim.
Mm-hmm.
It's in pretty bad shape, but it looks like it used to be a sort of uniform.
Mm-hmm. And it is a human-shaped uniform.
Yeah, but it's in really bad shape.
Mhm.
So, but it's definitely for a humanoid, regular-sized humanoid.
Interesting.
Evelyn, you make a more intriguing find on one of the goblins as you go over their belongings, most of which are just the usual ridiculous goblin stuff. The trolls have left them a couple of pickles in their pockets and a collection of dead snails and the other one. But one of them was wearing an amulet that doesn't look like something that would belong to a goblin.
Although that's Lady Evelyn, I suppose.
You can give me a knowledge, arcana, or religion check, Anthony.
1 second.
Yeah, it's a creepy style. It also looks fairly well. It's fairly clean and in pretty good shape, and which probably means that the goblin didn't have it for long, because nothing in the hands of a goblin looks that good for longer than a couple of days.
Is that like a little strip of cloth or ribbon or something that's tied around it, or is that like part of the metal work, the thing that goes through its mouth?
That is just some intricately painted part of the metal work.
Okay. Evelyn's gonna hold it up and says, "Looks like our little green friend here was pilfering some goods."
Yeah, the Aronax will probably glance at this like, ugh, is that some Zonkuthonian stuff again? Or...
Does sort of have the look, doesn't it? But Emaírel, I wonder, would this have any meaning to you?
Emaírel is going to put out his hand and give it a minute to check it out.
Yeah, it's alright. I'll handle this barricade by myself.
That uniform, does that have any sort of heraldry or anything on it?
It has a blue trim.
In knowledge, nobility.
Yeah, I can help you there.
Oh. Yeah, not only do you recognize remnants of the heraldic of the Caro marks, but also do you notice that there are some subtle insignia that were only used in the times when the noble family actually was part of the ruling class. Ever since the uprising in Ustalev and the founding of the Palatine Council, these sort of insignia are actually not, well, they're not strictly forbidden, but they're certainly frowned upon to display in public.
Uh-huh. Karamax were a noble family? I actually
Yeah,
have no idea.
do I know anything else about the family?
Although,
Give me another knowledge nobility. funny that this is the first time you actually think about that.
Well, I mean, surely castle is named Schloss Karamak, but it can be named against after anything, really. I mean,
Yeah, and maybe it is seeing the what's it called? The emblem? No, that's not what it's called.
Sigil
Cool.
or
Yeah, the seeing the sigil of the family, that sort of triggers memory. But of course, Karamark, the dwelling, or Schloss Karamark, the dwelling of Count Alpon Karamark, he was the former ruler of Wieland.
oh. Well,
He-
it certainly looks
yeah.
looks the part.
He in fact abdicated his position when the Palatinates threw off the heavy yoke of the aristocracy, and he is somewhat known within the circles of the nobility as an eccentric recluse. He has built a dwelling that both attracts and deters visitors. It's known as the Hanging House, and you all have just gotten a glimpse of why that is the case. Being built into the walls of a gorge above a waterfall. And you remember that there are stories about this place, stories about how the lower parts of the house are just as luxurious as one might find in any city, but the further up the gorge one goes, the more treacherous and inhospitable and dark the buildings become.
is it possible that Evelyn's father would have had some sort of interaction with this man, since he was involved?
absolutely.
He was not directly involved in Wieland,
Yeah.
but in Canterwall. But certainly he was involved in the revolutionary times.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not you couldn't be sure if they had personal interactions, but given that Lord Karamark was the ruler of Wieland, your father certainly had some sort of relationship with him at some point, you would think.
Huh. Does I guess that means Evelyn doesn't happen to recall any specific stories that her father might have told.
Nothing more specific than what I just told you.
Okay.
Does Emaírel pick anything up from the amulet?
Give me a knowledge religion check.
Is the check necessary?
Mm-hmm.
Even with his magical
Yep.
abilities.
As soon as you pick it up, Emaírel, I take you to the room next door.
Okay.
Ooh, secrets.
Oh yeah. He's going to have his mind broken, isn't he? Just like Geier.
Most likely.
And he will start rotting on his bones, just like Geier. And develop
He'll be
strange
fine.
powers. These places are bad for us, I think. All these haunted spots. Nothing good comes out of this.
Emaírel is going to take out some sort of handkerchief from his back and wrap that thing up carefully, put it away, and mention that this thing feels of evil.
I see. Are you still yourself, Emaírel?
Yes, as far as I know.
I
Yeah.
see. How far
I,
are
I
you?
don't think it's I don't feel it's magical, but I feel it has a bad past.
What is it exactly?
I think it's just a medallion.
And yet you carefully wrapped it in a handkerchief. Well, okay, I think we'll take your word for it. Is it safer to throw it off the ledge?
I don't know, maybe it might be useful to match with something else later.
All right.
How is that barricade coming, Doctor?
It is coming. All right.
Well, Emaírel will continue the process with you.
I am. I'm going as far as I can, considering my current state, and even though it's not my degree of expertise.
Is he still mutagened?
Yes, I will. My mutagen will be going for at least an hour. So there's plenty of time.
While the doctor and Emaírel continue to take the barricade down, Geier and Evelyn, you were looking around too. There's some more to be found here, but of course the things we've just discussed immediately drew your attention. There are some more mundane things that I want to point out to you. There are some hunks of dubious meat that hang from meat hooks attached to an old staff among piles of timber. And the trolls have collected several sacks of plunder, including a pair of bellows, a shovel, a sledge, a battered tankard, and several pretty stones, alongside a whole lot of gold and silver pieces.
Stones?
What does a shovel look like?
Of course.
Well, I mean, is it better than the shovel I'm currently lugging about?
No, it is actually quite pitiful. Not the tool of a professional, for sure.
Not the tool of a professional, indeed.
Do I get the sense that these are things that might have been looted from the Schloss, or that they perhaps brought with them from the outside, or is that impossible to tell?
You could do a knowledge engineering, I guess. Possibly.
I highly doubt I'm trained in that. Hang on.
Or just a wisdom check, I think, should be enough.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's a wisdom thing. Oh, nice. Well, looking at these items, you would think that they probably just sacked the gatehouse. So maybe they didn't even get further than this.
Yeah, do I see other signs that they've been, like, camped out here? Like,
Well, they have the fires here, they have hung meat up to in what looks like a troll pantry, essentially. So it looks like they've sort of settled in. Yeah.
So they've been here for a little while, but not necessarily any further.
Yes.
And okay, so let's hold on to these things. I think we ought to present these back to the master of the house. What did you say his name was again? Can you type it out?
Halpon.
Halpon Karamak.
Very well, I think Master Alpon will likely be pleased to receive his property back and know that it is safe and sound, assuming that he is, of course, safe and sound. What is his proper title now as a former count?
I suppose he probably keeps the title of a count, he just doesn't keep the authority.
Correct. It's now it's more like a
He is
stage name.
He's a count, of course.
Yeah, but he remains a count.
I mean, if I was a count, I would certainly done that.
Well, counts are typically the rulers of each of the counties of Ustalav, so therefore I wasn't sure if he would retain his title. But nevertheless, I suppose it would not be in error to be on the side of caution when addressing him.
Mm-hmm. Is it Your Highness or Your Grace to address a count?
I believe that simply Count Karamak, or perhaps my lord, if you prefer, would be acceptable.
Well, I mean,
I think I'm just gonna keep my trap shut.
Technically, you all should be referring to me as Baroness, but it's not much I can do about that.
well, if you insist, but well, I mean, well, never mind. Well, at this point, Aronax just kicks another piece of debris into the corner. Like, just get on with it.
Evelyn is going to take the stones and hold on to them. Can she make any sort of guess as to their value?
Appraise? They're just kind of pretty to look at, but they're worthless.
They're worthless.
Yeah.
Huh.
Well, I mean, they were kept by goblins, so.
Well, if it was indeed looted just from the guardhouse, I don't imagine they keep their valuables there.
Yeah, we'll probably find other stuff to loot inside. I mean,
What do you mean loot?
I
appreciate.
hardly think we should be looting the private manor of a count such as this. Especially one who's capable of crafting such a beast as well, the Beast of Leopardstadt.
Yeah, it's better not to get on his bedside.
I find it curious. I wonder where these stones might have come from. Never mind.
Let's venture forth then.
Indeed.
The gold and silver, though, how much of that was there before we go?
That was 208 gold pieces and 345 silver.
This probably is the loot from the hapless victims of these foul creatures.
That was 345 silver.
Yes, and 208 gold pieces.
Evelyn's gonna scoop all of that up.
Mm-hmm.
Did you check the upstairs?
Did we?
No.
I don't
no.
think we did.
Nobody went
No.
upstairs.
Okay, then I suppose we should scour that thoroughly too.
Okay. There is a spiral staircase in every corner of the hall, and each of this staircase leads up to another tower, to the battlements of another tower, and the towers are interconnected with walkways, or more like the two towers on each side are interconnected with walkways. The towers themselves have battlements providing cover, and you see a bunch of piles of large pointed stones in all of the towers. The southwest tower, where the leader of the troll gang started harassing you with his crossbow bolts, looks pretty much the same like the others, except for one some small but magnificent detail, which is a spyglass bound in gold that sits next to one of the battlements, alongside a handful of, or troll handful of mummified hands of about 20 in number, and in those hands there have been thrust several needles, 3 of which are actually fancy-looking hat pins, ending in tiny rubies that look valuable.
These are definitely not tools of whatever the creatures we found.
I should say not. I actually put my own hairpins to shame. Should I try to appraise those as well?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're quite fancy. 3 of them in total, and each one is worth 75 gold pieces, you would think.
Those are some madly expensive pins.
Mm-hmm.
Do people actually wear them? Where do they wear them? In their hair or on their on their lapel? Or maybe in their sleeves? Or I don't know. It's
Well, they are hat pins.
hat pins.
Mm-hmm.
And the telescope, does that look like something that's a permanent fixture or something that has
It's
been
a-
set
it's
up
a-
there?
It's a spyglass, so it's like a portable spyglass.
It's
I
on
don't know.
on
It's like a tube that you can fold up.
Right.
on a tripod?
No, it's quite portable.
Evelyn will be snatching that up as well.
Are those hat pins are pinned into the mummified arms or hands, right?
Yes, they are.
And they're just hanging in there.
Yeah, they've just been driven into the mummified flesh.
Yeah, Evelyn pays no mind to that. She just yanks them out.
Well, anyway, Dr. Arronax is still downstairs, so he can't say anything about this.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Can I approximate the value of the spyglass?
Mm-hmm. Another piece.
I think they're normally worth like 1,000 gold or something.
Yeah, they normally are. So you would think that this one should fetch as much if you were to try and sell it.
You said it's banded in gold, though. Does that seem to increase its value?
They are usually decorated like that. They are magnificent works of artisan skill.
Okay. Yeah. Evelyn's taking all of these things and stowing them away.
Okay. Other than that, the tower tops are quite empty. So by the time you climb back down and meet back up with the rest of the group downstairs, the doctor is wiping the sweat off his forehead.
Geier pushed a couple of rocks around with this shovel, not very effectively.
But at least there's enough room in the barricade to pull open the door enough for you to slip through if you wanted to.
About time, says Dr. Arronax, pulling the door with all his remaining strength, like prying himself to the other side of the door, like with his legs, and just like putting all his body to swing one of the doors outside or inside.
Inside,
yeah.
Otherwise, the barricade would not have been very effective.
Mm-hmm. It's like,
and
come on.
Yeah, you pull it open with all your might, crushing it against what remains of the barricade and pushing it even further, scraping over the floor with all the various bits of broken down furniture. And beyond the gate is a walkway. In fact, a slender stone bridge that arches gracefully over a roaring waterfall and links the gatehouse to a fortified manor house clinging to the cliff on the far side. And as you open the door wide enough, for you to see through, you spot movement near the entrance of the mansion.
Mm-hmm.
And at first you think it's another troll hound, because it's a kind of a low creature on 4 feet. But then its howl and its barking is eerily familiar from the comic works. A flesh golem hound. So, and of course, it is here for the same reason that it was at the comic works, to guard the house.
We were invited, for fuck's sake! Yells Dr. Arronax, forgetting his politeness.
And time for initiative.
I can't see my tokens.
You cannot see your token?
Same.
Yeah, neither can I.
How's that? Yeah, right
Well,
there.
I think we're slightly off the map.
Yeah, it's all black with one single square.
Ah, okay,
Yeah.
that's...
Now
Yeah.
it's better. I can see my token at least.
Do we not have light, maybe?
Oh, that shouldn't be even on. The dynamic lighting. There we go.
Okay.
Better?
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait a second. For some reason my token has 9 hit points. That can be right.
So I rolled before clicking on my token and got a 9.
Oh, I made the same mistake. Yeah.
Okay, so Geier is 9 and Evelyn is 16. Okay. So as the flesh golem hound starts yapping and barking, well, we still don't have an initiative from Aronax. There it is. Yeah, but it doesn't change much. As the flesh golem starts baying and barking, Evelyn, you have your wits about you, and you get to act first.
Yeah, she's ultra suspicious of this now, but she's going to step forward. And stand side by side with Emaírel and call out, "We come at the invitation of the one known as the Beast of Leopardstad, to visit with the good Count of this Schloss. We come as guests and wish no harm." And I don't know if that's a diplomacy, intimidate, I don't know what, but she's hoping that this thing has some sort of sense to it.
Well, I would think that it's a diplomacy check, so try a diplomacy. Okay. Well, as usual, you're very charming, very convincing, very reasonable in your requests. But the
Technically,
thing,
that's a 34.
okay, still the thing just snarls and goes. "Arrgh." You can see it pace back and forth a little bit in front of the door of the mansion, and you don't feel like you are on. You have any sense or any sort of made any sort of connection to it.
Okay.
Emaírel?
Gentlemen, I leave you to your work.
Let me see. Well, there's not much that can be done. Emaírel is going to yeah, he's just going to step ahead and take total defense for this round.
Okay. So you step out onto the stone bridge, that, by the way, has no guardrail. It's 10 feet wide, as you can tell. And underneath, the waterfall is roaring. And the moisture from the splash below is rising up, kind of the mist already gathering around your feet. And the flesh golem, as you step out, he kind of jumps forward and goes, and then snarls some more and paces back and forth again. Gaia.
Geier will step beside Lady Evelyn, and with hands outstretched, he will close his eyes and try to see if there's anything else that they're missing.
So you look out over the bridge.
Exactly.
And go next door. All right. Doctor.
Alright, Doctor, in that case, he will squeeze past Geier and Lady Evelyn, Baroness Evelyn, saying, well, so let's see how it reacts to this one. He steps just one step after Emaírel, and he will also take total defense for this.
Okay. Okay.
We'll be careful on this one.
Okay. Evelyn.
Evelyn is going to delay her turn.
Okay. Emaírel.
Again, he's going to step just ahead of the doctor and again take total defense and call out again. See if anyone can hear us.
Okay, you get no response except that the hound kind of he tenses up and he seems ready to jump at any moment now. And he growls. Geier, you concentrate.
Yeah, Geier has a look of intense concentration in his face, or he ate something and it's not going down well.
Mm-hmm. Number of different. Okay.
Do we happen to have some kind of doggy treat that we can throw to this thing? It seems to be acting at least somewhat like a guard dog. Maybe it will take a bribe.
Okay. Number of different magical auras. That's, I mean, how many magic items do you guys?
Well, not that many actually.
A few.
Yeah, Emaírel has at least the enchanted dagger. Oh, he has plenty of stuff. The planchette, some magic arrows, potions and scrolls.
Yeah.
Evelyn has 2 magic items.
Okay,
Three.
let's just assume that Geier has had the presence of mind to track of how many magic items the party has for this specific reason.
Yeah, I guess those would tune out or be familiar.
Yeah, exactly.
I think I only have the potions, and that's about it.
Move action, Alejandro?
No, Geier's just gonna be focusing. It's 60 feet, right? That's basically as far as it reaches. So, yeah, just focusing on detecting magic.
Okay. Doctor?
Well, we will continue crawling ahead slowly and in total defense. I say, good doggy, good. Stay there and don't eat us. We have dealt with your kind before. We are now experienced with it. We can be friends.
Evelyn will take her action at the end of the round then.
Mm-hmm. That's basically now.
Yeah, she's just going to move forward.
Okay. The
And
hound.
she's going to fix the hound with her stare, but that's all.
Okay. The hound, still growling, doesn't seem to be willing to give way. Emaírel?
Same. Step up.
And as you step over there, the hound charges all of a sudden
Too close, too soon.
and tries to bull rush you off the edge of the bridge. So your total
Before
defense
Emaírel gets,
Hmm?
before Emaírel gets to do the total defense.
No, that I was assuming that you would keep up the defense that you were doing. Unfortunately, that means you don't get attacks of opportunity. So the hound just jumps you, and he's going to roll his CMB, which is this. Okay, that is actually the same modifier. So it's a 26 against your CMD.
That misses by 1.
So he barrels into you almost. He's already pushing you over the edge. For a second there, it looks as if Emaírel is going to plummet into the raging waters below. But then,
Wait. Actually, it's a +4 total defense.
yes.
It is a +4, so it actually matches. It hits.
And then he slips on the slick on a slick stone and begins to fall. Give me a reflex save.
Let me. Yeah, okay. Let's save. Let me check something real quick.
Ah, nice.
That's not the kind of reflex save you want to see.
No, Emaírel falls.
Just as he realizes that he's going to be falling, he's going to take an immediate action to cast Feather Fall.
Ooh. So how exactly? What exactly happens then, though?
He doesn't take damage.
You start falling slower.
Yeah, how slow?
60 feet per round for 6 rounds.
Okay, but 60 feet per round. Give me a second here. Okay, so you start falling, and you basically fall halfway down towards the river from the bridge.
Oh, how high up are we?
The bridge is 100 feet over the river.
Oh, I see then.
Tuck and roll.
That was the golem's readied action. Technically, Emaírel. No, you used your standard and then you moved. Okay. So Emaírel is slowly falling towards the river. Geier.
So by this turn, I can do a knowledge arcana check to also determine. I get to determine the location of the aura.
So
and with knowledge arcana, I can detect the school of magic, right?
Yes. So the location is on the door to the mansion, and you can roll knowledge arcana.
19.
15 plus spell level. It's not enough. There's some magic, but you're not sure what's school.
Okay.
That was your standard. What's your move?
Definitely don't want to get too close to the beast. So he'll take a 5 foot and reach out and go like, oh, when he sees Emaírel fall.
Mm-hmm. Doctor.
All right. It's so out of the southern doctors, it turns out to be the frontliner here. So he will try to do the thing that he never did before, and he will drink a shield extract to ensure that this thing will never bite him again. Or, well, never get a chance to actually bite him. And, and that would be his standard action, so he can take a total defense in addition to that.
Okay, but move action?
And unfortunately, I don't really have anything to do with my move action. Other than pull out some, my splash weapons, but I will be using bombs in any case, so he will stay here.
Okay, Evelyn.
Evelyn, I don't know if she would have had the chance to see Emaírel cast his feather fall on himself.
Well, she would see that he's falling slowly.
Okay. Yeah, there's not a whole lot that she can do for him at the moment. So, I guess she's going to be casting. She's going to use her move action to pull out the Wand of Cure Light Wounds, and she's going to use her standard to reach out, touch the doctor, and as she touches him, she says, I think you're going to destroy this thing quite aptly, and cast Hermian Potential on him.
What does it do? I don't remember.
Your next 2 d20 rolls, you get to roll twice and take the higher.
It's very nice.
Okay. The hound growls at the doctor and slowly steps forward. His fleshy paws making a wet sound as they hit the cobblestones of the bridge. And he growls, and then lurches forward, also trying to push the doctor off of the bridge. You're not armed with a melee weapon right now, are you?
No.
Okay, so he just does his... Oh, it's a 31.
I think he hits.
I believe so, too. So a reflex save?
That should be Hermian Potential.
Does he have to roll? Oh, no, the reflex save, I see.
Yeah, I think I will take that one.
Okay, so he pushes you over the edge, but you manage to hold on to the edge of the bridge, holding on tight with both hands. But the hound is towering right over you, growling down at you. Emaírel, you continue to fall. You still get to act this round while you're in the air, but by the end of the turn, you'll hit the water.
Doesn't have much I can do while you're falling down. Maybe just try to orientate himself so that he doesn't land on a rock or something.
Okay. Alright, so you continue to fall, and eventually you splash into the water. That has quite a strong current, of course, this close to the waterfall. In fact, you're right on the edge of it, and you are going to fall again next turn if you cannot fight the water. Geier.
Geier, from where he's standing, will look at the foul creature and say, oh, this is no way to treat guests. That is most rude. You should be ashamed of yourself.
Dude.
And will attempt to cause fear.
Dude.
And the hound is entirely unimpressed by that. Doesn't even respond to your accosting.
We've done this once before, Geier. It's mindless.
I'll come up with something better next time. I don't have much experience with things that are surging through my blood.
Move action for Gaia? Alejandro?
Nope, not really. He's fine where he is.
Okay. Doctor?
Okay, what are my options for pulling myself up?
Essentially, well, you can't pull yourself up into the square of the hound, obviously. So you would have to try and shimmy along the bridge, which would be a climb check. And, you know, whatever else you can convince me of reasonably try to do.
Well, my climb is -2. Although I do still have that Herman potential, which will be running out on this check, I suppose. But all right, let's do this. Because Arronax doesn't have enhanced strength at this point, and well, at least he has a shield.
So you try to shimmy along the bridge.
Yes, but
Mhm.
climb check is only to shimmy along and not to climb up.
Mm-hmm.
Wonderful.
Because there's a big old fleshhound in front of you.
Wow.
And he, as you try to move away from him, the opportunity to bark at you, and you get so spooked by that you let go for a second, and then your second hand slips and you fall.
All right.
This is not turning out so well.
Yep. All right. So at this point, I suppose it will be an acrobatics checks to land legs first.
Well, we'll see when that happens because you just start falling now. How much do you fall per round?
It's like in slow motion, but faster than Emaírel.
Yeah. Give me a second here.
I think it's normally 120. Not sure though.
Doesn't say. That's disappointing. I 100 feet. That's 30 meters. 10 meters per second squared. Yeah, you will make it down there by the end of this round. So you might as well. So you're not deliberately falling though, so you don't get to do the acrobatics check, if I'm not mistaken. Where did that page go? Falling damage, there it is. So you didn't deliberately jump, you fell. but you're falling onto water. So the first 20 feet of falling do no damage. The next 20 feet do non-lethal damage. Which means it's 1d3 per 10-foot increment.
One Weasley a question. Technically speaking, a feather fall does not affect only Emaírel. It potentially can affect everyone.
Well, it depends on what was the source for the feather fall.
It's just a spell. I don't think... I would like it if it did, but I don't think it does.
Targets one medium or small free-falling object or creature per level.
Right, but it's until landing, or 1 round per level. So since you've started standing on the bridge when he cast the spell, it doesn't really help you.
Well, that's unfortunate.
Okay, so you're falling 100 feet. The first 20 don't count. The next 20 are 1d3 each non-lethal. So roll 2d3 for non-lethal.
2d6.
No, 2d3 non-lethal.
All right. I think it's stuck.
Apparently there's a 3.5 FAQ that says roughly 500 feet for the first round.
Okay, so it's 6 points of non-lethal damage that you take, and then you have 6 more increments of lethal damage, which is 66, so that's 17 points of damage.
Well, at least I'm not instantly died, so that's plus, I suppose.
Yeah. So you hit the water hard, but you don't fall unconscious as you do that.
Mm-hmm.
Good times. Evelyn, you are now left with Geier and the Fleshhound on this slippery bridge.
Yep. Evelyn's leaving.
Oh, we got this.
Speak for yourself. Evelyn is going to use another obscuring mist. Assuming that the creature has already expended its attack of opportunity for the round. And then she's gonna flee. Back to the gatehouse, or as far as she can get across the bridge.
Okay. So the obscuring mist fills 20 feet
Yeah.
orb, was it? Okay, so the golem within the mist and Geier is just on the edge of the mist, essentially. And so the golem is disoriented by the fog, and you can just hear him go in the mist, and he doesn't seem to follow. He's too disoriented for that. Emaírel, give me a swim check.
This is gonna be fun.
Oh no! Oh god, no!
The roiling water throw you around like a floating piece of wood, and it sweeps you over the edge of the waterfall. And you fall 50 feet to the lower river. I will give you the benefit of being able to prepare yourself for the drop. So as your second move action, you can essentially make the athletics check to try to avoid the first range increment.
Do we still have those spell slots?
He does, but can he cast? Well, I guess this is the opportunity to try it out. Yeah, he's going to try and cast Featherfall again.
Okay, there will be a concentration check.
Yep. Does that apply to?
Immediate actions?
Yeah, it is
Yeah.
immediate action though.
I would think so. I mean,
Because
it doesn't say anything about only standard actions or anything like that. So concentration checks, vigorous motion. If you're riding, or this is probably a violent motion. If you're on a galloping horse taking a very rough ride in a wagon, or being thrown around by a waterfall, you must make a concentration check, DC 15 plus the level of the spell, or lose the spell. Doesn't say anything about the kind of action it takes to cast.
You're evil.
Okay, yeah, okay, so yeah. All right, concentration.
Focus.
And actually, concentration is going to be extra hard. Let me pull out the rules because concentration checks are extra difficult for psychic magic.
Oh, okay.
Well, I
But
think
the regular DC would just be 16.
There's something about something getting doubled up.
Okay.
Any spell with the thought component increases by 10. Does this have a thought component? It has verbal, and verbal corresponds to verbal. Yeah. So DC is 10 higher.
10 higher.
Yeah.
So you miss it by 1.
Yay.
Which means you lose the spell and you use the action, so you can no longer try the athletics check.
Would
Acrobatics, I mean. However,
before casting it, would Emaírel have had the option of taking actions apart from a spell?
I mean,
Well, I guess he tried to swim, right? So that's the standard.
That's a move action, swimming.
Okay, so it's just a move. Can he?
Oh, right. The feather fall is an immediate action, so you still
Yeah.
have an action if you want to prepare for the drop.
Okay. Well, I didn't declare it, but Emaírel has the option of taking a move action to cancel out the increased DC.
Well, that's too late.
Yeah. Okay, so last option is
Acrobatics.
acrobatics.
$18. That's enough. So the first feed fallen are considered non-lethal damage. Okay. So first 10 feet are considered non-lethal damage. The next 20 feet. Oh wait, no damage. Oh. Increases by 5 for every 50 feet of the dive. Did you make... and you missed it by 2! Oh, even though you rolled a 20, but that's unfortunately not enough, because if you deliberately dive into water, you take no damage on a DC 15 acrobatics check, as long as the water is deep enough. But the DC increases by 5 for every 50 feet of the dive, and it's 50 feet down, so it's DC 20. So the water is essentially rock hard when you hit it, and the first 20 feet of falling do no damage. However, next 20 feet do non-lethal damage. So we have 2d3 of non-lethal, which is 4, and then 1d6 of lethal, which is 2. So that could have been worse.
Just that? I'm not complaining, but it seems.
Yeah, you're falling 50 feet. The first 20 feet of falling do no damage. The next 20 feet do non-lethal damage, 1d3 per 10 foot.
Okay.
And beyond that, falling damage is lethal damage, 1d6 per additional 10. So that's really all. It's much better than hitting the ground.
Yeah.
But of course, you get swept away at the bottom of the waterfall, and the churning current pulls you down river. Geier.
Would Geier know if Bone Shaker would work in this creature? If it's a construct?
I think it worked on the previous ones.
Give me a knowledge arcana.
Right. Yeah. Not great.
Well, I'll leave it to you to decide, because he doesn't know for sure either way.
Yeah, it's a creature. It's got a skeleton, so Geier will attempt it and try to rattle its fleshy skeleton with this small marionette that he has, trying to cause it grievous pain.
So you shake the marionette in front of it, and it turns to look at you with its white, blind-looking eyes, and it lowers its head and goes "Grrr," and readies a charge.
Geier, you've done this once before.
I guess the same.
I think it's the exact same sequence of spells.
You did Bone Shaker again against it.
Oh, did I say it worked once before?
It
I
did not
lied.
work before.
You still have a move action, though.
Technically, it can't see him.
Oh, right. But maybe it feels some necromantic energy coming.
Yeah, well, Geier's gonna leg it.
Okay, so
Why,
he
you
runs
fools?
back into the gatehouse. Doctor, I will need a swim check from you as you try to fight the waters, if you try to fight the waters.
So my swim is -3.
Mm-hmm.
I clicked.
That
Hey.
isn't. Yeah, it is not bad, but unfortunately not enough. The waters are very powerful, and they just sweep you away, and they throw you off the edge of the waterfall as well. So I'll give you that move action if you want to
Well,
try an acrobatics.
for acrobatics, well, at least my acrobatics, while also penalized, they are 2. So I theoretically, I could get over 20. But I don't.
But you don't, exactly. So you fall down and take 5 points of non-lethal damage from the water and 4 points of lethal damage. And You too are being swept downriver. Yeah, every now and then you can see Emaírel bobbing up and down in the churning waters. Evelyn?
Evelyn's going to try to basically run back out through the gatehouse and did we see as we were approaching if there was any way that the road leads downstream?
Where we can be plucked out.
Yeah, well, the road here kind of followed the river for a little while, but it's a good ways downstream.
Well, that's the best option she has, so she's going to start running out and trying to like follow the road down, trying to get a view on the river and see where these other two are.
All right. You hear the golem hound bay and bark on the bridge and howl in triumph. Emaírel, you can give me a swim check. Yeah, you have no chance of fighting these powerful waters this close to the waterfall, and you're just being pushed downriver, and you feel like you're drowning. You feel like you're swallowing a lot of water, and you go under. So you have to start counting rounds, holding your breath. Geier?
Geier will follow Lady Evelyn and trying to keep to the river's edge or find the river's edge and see if he can be useful for a change.
Okay, so with the mocking howls of the flesh behind you, the two of you run out of the gatehouse and take a turn towards the road that you traveled here. Keep running, trying to get to your friends. And by the time, which is easily like half a mile down the road, you'll be pretty out of breath, I'm sure. I guess Geier will probably not even be able to keep up with Evelyn for that long. And Doctor, give me a swim check real quick. Yeah. The river this far away from the waterfalls has calmed a lot and takes a bend, and there's a shallow beach here, and you see your two friends have been swept ashore here, barely conscious and just soaking wet, of course, covered with debris.
Well, we tried diplomacy. I guess.
We tried necromancy.
Now we try violence. And Doctor falls asleep. Yes.
So he sits up, shakes his fist, and then kind of falls back down
And
from exertion.
yeah, and the red tint from his skin fades as his mutagen powers down.
Mm-hmm.
Because at this point it probably will be the time.
Yeah.
Do any of them look like grievously on death's door, kind of wounded?
Well, since I'm going to turn off my mutagen, Aronax might be. Recalculate. Come on.
Emaírel should be fine. Plenty hurt, but still fine.
Okay, Evelyn is going to use the wand of cure light wounds then on the doctor. Okay. That did not do what I wanted it to do. There we go.
So magical healing, does it completely wipe out non-lethal damage, or it heals equal to normal?
It heals as
Both,
many hit
yeah.
points of non-lethal as it does of regular.
Okay, and since I can see my token, I had.
Well, it's on your sheet, right?
It doesn't transfer to the from the token to the sheet.
Should. Oh yeah, it didn't. Okay, I'm gonna link it to your sheet then.
Okay,
So 16 out of 49, that's your hit points, right?
Mm-hmm. So with +6, that would be 22. Although I am a little bit confused about 49. That should be my normal hit points, or that with my boosted constitution hit points?
I imagine it would be the boosted. Emaírel with a 14 in Constitution has around 47 hit points.
Yeah, so I will append that as well. From 49 minus 12. Yeah, that would be 37. So yeah, and like Doctor's physical slightly deflates as his mutagen powers down. Like,
And Evelyn she's gonna try to use the wand on him again, but realize that it's dead and just throw it into the river. It's a useless stick at this point.
although
And
she will probably notice how his wounds continue healing just a little bit as his spontaneous healing kicks in for another +5.
and yeah, at first when she got there, she's like breathing hard from the exertion, and when she sees them, she kind of has this deep sigh, realizing they're okay, but very quickly turns it into a sigh of annoyance. Says, "Gentlemen, if we mean to infiltrate this place, you'll have to do better than that."
Ah, yeah. That is undoubtedly true, Lady Evelyn.
Yeah, I have no argument.
Now, Arronax will somewhat in exhaustion. He will look at the side to Emaírel. Now, if you excuse me, can you please stand back for a moment? And he will, still lying down, he will pull out one of his bombs and one of his extracts, and one of his extracts is his cure moderate wounds.
Evelyn's gonna jump back as she realizes what's going on.
Yeah, and using his quite long hands, Arronax will just lower the mixed bomb and curative extract right at the Emerald's chest. There we go. And in a poof of
Nice.
aerosolic solution, his wounds starting to heal, as well as Dr. Arronax's for another +8.
How, or rather, what time of day would it be now?
Late afternoon.
Yeah, I think we should probably take over that gatehouse from the trolls and camp out ourselves in there before.
Also, we should be cautious with that approach. That beast will not be the only of our problems.
Yeah.
1 second, sorry.
So if people are like recovering and heading back up the road, Evelyn is going to try to rack her brains for her knowledge of the Schloss, as well as like look as carefully as she can and see if she can try to think of some other means of entrance.
Sorry. Yeah, we would need to look for something else because the front gate, there's something unnatural about it. There's a magic emanating from it, and I can't really place my finger if it's good or bad, but if previous events are any indications, I'm leaning towards bad.
Magic, you say?
That's right.
Well, at least you're good for something.
Yeah, well, at least I'm... just grumbles.
So Evelyn is looking at a different way to get into the buildings.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are these into or the Schloss is made up of a total of 3 buildings built into the river, on top of the river, that are connected with narrow bridges. So unless you could fly, there's no way to get to them except through the main gate and then entering the first building, moving to the next building, and so on and so forth. On the far side of the river, there's also on top of the hill, if you remember the description from last time, that there's another building that teeters to the north of the strange tower pierced with beautiful stained glass windows depicting bizarre beasts. But it's impossible to see from here how you would even be able to get to it. And far above, a great tower rises from an aisle of stone to the sky, ending in a great steeple topped with a huge lightning conductor. But each individual building is only accessible either by flying or by the bridges.
Well,
Have we any ranged weapons in our arsenal?
well, we do have some ranged weapons, but
Yeah.
that's...
I have Acid Splash and Magic Missile.
Any of you capable with that crossbow that Troll was wielding?
Well, it's a very standard weapon. It shouldn't be too hard to use.
Then it seems if this cursed bridge is our only means of egress, that we ought to deal with the beast from as far away as possible.
But
Ingress, I should say.
But maybe take, let us take a night's rest before.
Yes.
Very well, gentlemen. I see you don't have the same sense of urgency that I do. Why don't we nap on it?
We're not going to just nap on it, Evelyn. We must make our preparations for a most serious encounter of our lives here, if we want to get inside.
Carlos, you kind of sounded low.
Yeah, I could not catch any of that.
I apologize. I just put down my headset on the table. I mean, we won't be just napping, Lady Evelyn. We will be making preparations for this most important encounter in this week. If we want to get inside, this can't be rushed. Otherwise, we might just repeat our uncomfortable experience that we just had. And not only
Very
we,
well.
but you as well.
Very well, I shall have my servants erect my tent. Suppose we shall be staying the evening.
I'll dispose of the corpses.
So you set up camp just outside the gatehouse?
I don't
That
know,
the
I
plan?
was thinking just taking out the corpses and camping inside the gatehouse.
Can we pull the wagon into the gatehouse and kind of close it up as best we can, and maybe set up the tent on the roof if it's exposed?
Yeah, it's certainly possible. The gates are wide, and there's enough space in the inner yard. And since you have some time of the afternoon left, yeah, you could do that.
Does any part of the gatehouse offer a good vantage of the bridge?
Yes, if you climb up to the towers, they have just as good a view of the bridge as they have of the road.
Oh, perhaps we were a little hasty. Gentlemen, just shoot it from here.
Oh wait, really?
Doctor, I also have a question for you before we do the shooting. Could you perhaps throw one of the bodies towards the bridge and, well, we can see if the beast perhaps eats the body? And if it does, could you maybe poison it?
That is an interesting question. I'm not sure I have ever poisoned anything deliberately.
Oh, there's always a first, huh?
Well, let's see. Aronax will survey the gatehouse. And let's try this one. And he will pick up a corpse of a goblin as the most light thing in there. Do you have anything to poison it with?
Me? You're the one who has all the weird contraptions.
Oh, that's very interesting. Yeah. Of all things, my archetypes actually trades out the poison use. So.
I don't believe I have anything in particular that would poison.
Yeah, and I also have only. Well, I have liquid ice. I have Alchemist fire. I can booby trap it.
I mean, that would work.
Well, okay. In that case, Aronax will take a flask of liquid ice, jam it inside the mouth of a goblin,
And toss the goblin over the bridge.
Yes.
All right.
I could use the help of that, though.
Geier will not, try and help, but not very effectively.
Yeah.
It's like, my back, it's cramped up again. No. Emaírel. Give us a hand, will you? Oh, my back.
We can just load it into this huge crossbow and shoot it from there.
Oh, right, the crossbows were large, right?
Yes, they are large.
But large enough to shoot a body?
Well, body is small and the bolts are large. It will make it give it a boost a little bit.
Okay, we'll shoot a booby-trapped goblin at the creature. I like it.
That is most unscientific thing I have done in years, I think.
Well, I mean, the only difference between messing around and science, or so I
Writing
heard
it up.
once, is taking notes.
Yes.
So, take some notes.
Alright, so I guess the components of a booby trap for a flesh golem is one liquid ice, one freshly dead goblin, and a contraption of a huge crossbow and a bolt. Let's see what's inside. So I guess we do this.
Yep, we're doing this.
I mean, this thing subjected us to a lot of suffering, so now we will try to make it brain hurt, or whatever passes for it.
So what exactly are you doing?
We are taking a goblin, putting a flask of liquid ice in it, then stuck a goblin on a large crossbow bolt, and shoot it out of the large crossbow into the bridge. In that order.
That won't fly. A large crossbow bolt is not large enough. It's not a ballista.
See, I told you it was too. You can't shoot a goblin. You have to toss it.
Fine, just toss it, then. And then we toss it then. In that case.
From the tower?
Yeah.
Yes.
I want to see if the thing will eat it.
Okay, so you hurl the goblin, basically just drop it from the tower a couple of feet away from the tower, and it hits hard on the bridge. And the flesh hound that has already withdrawn back to the gates of the mansion and had slumped down jumps up to his feet, looks over across the bridge, and gives a nasty growl. But he doesn't move to inspect.
Geier, in frustration,
Yeah.
takes out his component pouch and breaks out this dark powder and starts mashing it, and will make the dead corpse suddenly just start dragging itself towards the beast.
I doubt you have enough range. No, you don't.
Oh, yeah, it gets close enough, hopefully, to get its attention. I mean, it can't know it's an animated corpse. It might just attack out of instinct, no?
Yeah, but you can't get it that far. You're standing on top of the tower.
Yeah, but it just moves 30 feet, so that's halfway across the bridge.
No, you are already something like 30 feet up. So you don't have enough range.
Well, I mean, it's
Like, the corpse is too far away to be targeted by the spell.
The corpse is
No,
more than
it is-
25
it is-
feet.
It is within reach of the spell, but when the corpse leaves your range, it just stops moving, right?
I'm not sure. It says choose a creature within 30 feet of the corpse, even if the creature is outside the spell's range. Yeah, and the corpse shambles towards the creature.
Yeah, it does say even if the creature is outside the spell's range.
Well, it's the target of the shambling creature. I'm not sure.
The real question is the hound within 30 feet of the corpse? The bridge itself seemed pretty long, so...
No, it's not. It's not.
The bridge was like 60 feet.
Yeah. The goblin would make it like halfway across, but just the same as before. When you've encountered the hound, it was also doing the same thing, where it would just menace at first and protect the gate, and only if somebody moves even closer, it would attack. So
yeah.
even if the goblin can make it halfway across the bridge, all it will do is cause the hound to growl and
Alright, that's
growl.
right.
A cursed
Fine.
automatons. Yeah, and
Just the range of your acid splash.
even less.
Not great.
Emaírel is going to pick up one of the crossbow.
Acid splash is 25.
Mm.
Yeah, I can magic missile, but that's...
I can give you an acid flask, so you could use it as a focus for your acid splash.
That would be helpful.
Here you go then. And Aronax will toss him a flask of acid.
Careful! Don't throw acid at me. Are you insane?
I'm not insane. I know how to throw acid at people safely.
I'm not the most dexterous. How do you know I was going to catch it?
Previously, you had pretty much a lot of manual dexterity, enough to swing that spade of yours 5 times a second.
No, not anymore. So what's the plan then?
Well, Aronax will pick up another goblin corpse and toss it outside the gatehouse. We clean up, we take a breath, we patch our wounds, and I will brew some potent extracts and a new mutagen for myself. Well, and we try again tomorrow.
Just to clarify, how does the focus of the thing work?
I believe it counts as a material focus, and you just add +1 to damage from your acid splash.
Alright.
Where's that from?
That is, I think, from Alchemical something. I'll look it up for a moment.
Okay, so but what do? You set up camp? Rebuild the barricade?
I think Emaírel is going to try and snipe this thing off from the safety of the tower before we decide to call it a night.
If that's what he's doing, Evelyn's gonna just keep standing there and encouraging him. She's gonna give him a casting of Hermian potential every 2 shots, basically.
So you just want to pepper the hound with bolts, essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't feel very heroic doing that, but it's certainly an effective tactic. The hound has nowhere to go, can't retreat into the house because the doors are closed, and even if it comes running all the way up to the base of the tower, you would still be able to shoot down at it. So doesn't really matter how many bolts you shoot, because eventually the hound will collapse.
Good.
Well, once that's taken care of, I would suggest that we at least take a look at whatever protection was on that door, just so that we know what we should have to deal with tomorrow.
A fair point. I do hope Count Alpan will be forgiving of us for damaging his property, but suppose we have no other choice. Emaírel, perhaps while these two are mucking around with their Well, whatever it is they're doing, you should inspect the door more carefully.
Let's.
Basically, Evelyn is going to approach and cast Detect Magic.
Mm-hmm. And as you approach, tuning out all the other auras and finally zeroing in, Geier was right. There is a magic aura, and a moderate one, to boot, on that door. Give me knowledge arcana. Um, Team plus spell level. Okay, yeah. It appears to be a trap of some sort that would trigger a summoning spell. Quite powerful one. If one were to open the doors without bypassing it first.
So, do you want to ring, knock?
Is there a ring or a knock? Or something? Or bell?
Well, the arch bridge ends at a small cobbled terrace with a curious looking iron door depicting a scowling sun being devoured by ravenous clouds. To the left, 200 feet below, the waterfall plummets into the depth. The iron door itself is quite sturdy. And I will need a perception check because there is no obvious means of making of announcing your presence. But Lady Evelyn notices a hidden bell pull hanging by the eastern side of the door.
That's curious. Evelyn's gonna stand 40 feet away.
40
Encourage
feet.
Emaírel to also step back, and then she's going to cast Mage Hand.
Oh, okay.
Okay. You step back, and I assume you cast Major Hand to pull on the bell pull.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Give me perception checks.
Everyone?
Well, as far as I can tell, only Evelyn and Emma are here.
Oh, we're not going to stay behind. Just keep a safe distance.
Okay. So then everybody who's on the bridge can roll perception. Yeah. But over the roaring sound of the waterfall, it's almost impossible to hear if there's actually a bell going off. And at first it seems like nothing happens. But then you hear a sound as a tiny viewport in the door is slid open. And then shortly after it's closed again.
I don't suppose we got to see anything through the viewport.
At
Well, you
least we didn't get
step
shot.
40 feet back, so it's a tiny viewport.
How does the the door look? Like, is there any
It's a
windows apart on the wall? Anything else to?
no. It's just this curious-looking iron door sitting in the brick wall with no windows next to it.
But like on the rest of the, or you know what? So Emaírel is going to go back across the bridge, like back to the gatehouse,
Mm-hmm.
and he's going to sit down and produce another little flying guy.
Okay. But there's no opening that you could let it through. There are a couple of windows in the mansion, but each window is only 6 inches wide, and it is made of leaded glass. The door itself, like I said, has no openings.
The idea would be like to circle the
entire building.
circle the whole thing and see if, well, starting with whatever is close to the door.
So you want to circle the building with the eye.
It's just a question to visualize what's happening. The picture that we see right now, is that
It's just to give you an idea of what. It's not an actual depiction of the Schloss.
okay?
Okay, so the eye, the invisible eye, floats forward towards the mansion. What's the range of that eye?
Let me grab that. Up to 1 mile away.
Okay, well, yeah, that's not a problem then. The curtains are drawn, and so the eye, you just direct the eye to fly upwards a little bit, around the building. The mansion itself has 2 stories, judging by the number of rows of windows. And behind the building, there is a narrow walkway, another stone bridge. This one also without a handrail, which immediately gives you a shudder. That connects the mansion with the neighboring building, which looks like it took some intense damage. Like an explosion of some kind has ripped away the entire western wall of that building, as it sits there in the middle of the river. From that building, which appears to be only a single story, but it's a quite large, looks to be like one single large hall, or workshop or something like that. And from there, a rope bridge moves over and across the river towards another building. Which is another 2-story building. And in addition, a tower on top of those 2 stories. But again, all the windows, all the curtains are drawn shut. From the back of that building, as you let your eye drift even further,
It's only going to last for 6 minutes.
okay, what's its speed?
60 feet. Perfect maneuverability.
Okay, that's fairly fast then, so you can sort of zoom around with it. General idea And behind the that building with a tower on top, a stretching way, an exposed, winding, narrow pathway climbs the bare rock up to the 4 interconnected towers that you saw from afar, with the animal depictions in the glass. And from there, even further, you let your eye drift as it makes its way past these 4 towers, climbing even higher, floating over another bridge. It comes near another tower, the one that is topped with the lightning rod, and there's a large mound of something. You can not really tell what it is. At first, you think it's another one of these flesh golems, but it's much bigger, in fact. And the eye floats closer and closer and closer, and you see that the pile of flesh has collapsed inside the doorway of this tower, as if it has fallen down the staircase inside. And the last thing you glimpse before the eye winks out is the badly bruised and beaten face of the beast of Lepidstadt, collapsed at the base of the staircase.
Oh. So did he look like a corpse, or maybe potentially still alive?
He was lifeless. That you could tell.
Although, to be honest, he's a construct, so maybe he's
Yeah.
not that far gone.
Maybe he was just off. Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you tried turning it off and on again?
Yeah.
Just might work.
Alright, that's it for today.
Alright.
Okay.
So,
Because it's just such an awesome moment to
next Tuesday?
leave this session. Yeah. Sounds
I
good.
believe so.
Alright.
Yeah, you put it in the calendar already, right?
I did.
Yep.